He's just gingerly slapping it, you know? Just gingerly. This is cute.
This is SportsCenter.
Hey, I'm Marissa. I know the season is less than a week old, but my God, what a matchup we have tonight as Connor Bedard is taking on the Leafs. We'll admit that the Bedard hype has been a lot.
I think he understands his role as a major ambassador for the game of hockey, and he's handling it so well. He doesn't seem to be fazed by it, but I think that, it can be a little much for him at times. He doesn't say that, but it feels like it is.
First of all, shout out to Taylor Hall for just being an absolute real one. He said that as plainly as he could. Yeah, you know what? It's a lot. He's handling it well. And it's true. Because the amount of media attention he's been getting has been insane. And that being said, he's in Toronto tonight. The quietest town for hockey media, as you know. So expect the obnoxious amount of attention he's been getting to be at an all-time high. It's been well noted that Bedard's first road trip in the NHL was an extremely grueling one. But so far, the Hawks are 2-1 on the season, and Bedard has 3 points in 3 games played. Pretty good for a rookie. Not exactly 4 goals in his debut, and definitely not 6 goals in his first 2 games this season. And yeah, we know Matthews is not going to average a hat trick every game, but could we see him get to 70 this year? It has not been done since Alexander McGillney and Timo Solani both scored 76 in 1993. But if he gets another hat trick tonight, then we can start talking about him catching Gretzky's 92-goal season in 81-82. Listen, a season is long, okay? But we love the start of this one, so keep it going, Matthews. We're all aboard. But back to Bedsy, because somehow it feels like rookies always do well when they have their first games in Toronto. But maybe that's just me, a traumatized Leaf fan's way of thinking. Because we checked out the last 5 first overall picks, and none of them have even put up a point in their first game against the Buds. Will tonight be the first game of Bedard's career where he's held pointless? Or will he buck the trend of first overall picks getting blanked against the Leafs? Whatever happens, please rest assured knowing that we at TSN will be force-feeding you these storylines like that one scene in The Grinch. Because you gotta love it, right? This is feel-good stuff. These kind of players only come in once in a while, so we gotta soak it up while we can. But imagine if he was dating Taylor Swift, though. Prepare to be sick of me. To the NFL, and this is by far the wildest Sunday we've had in the NFL season. So let's bring out the chalkboard and see what we learned. Starting with the fall of the league's last 2 undefeated teams. So you know what that means, Dolphins fans. With the Niners and Eagles losses, it's time to pop the champagne, as the 72 Dolphins remain the league's only undefeated team for another year. Now we have one, count 'em, one, Fins fan on our staff. Bach, who you may know from our Bard on NFL content or Huddle Up. Well, even though he was born in 2001, which makes me sick to say out loud, over 30 years after the 72 Dolphins played, he made sure to celebrate just like Shula, Zonka, and Mercury Morris would.
All right, 1972 Dolphins, still the only perfect team ever. Calls for a bottle of champagne. I wasn't around in 1972, but I'll be back with another bottle in February when the Dolphins win the Super Bowl because they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Wow, here we go.
Woo!
All over the mics.
We're winning the Super Bowl, baby. We're undefeated. We're the only undefeated team ever. I think we're done. Cheers, Eagles, 49ers. You thought you were going to have a perfect season. No shot. Dolphins are the only team to ever do it. Still undefeated.
Fuck, you know what? You're a real one for doing that, but I gotta say, if you were born in the 80s, you wouldn't have. But let's take a closer look at that Niners loss, because maybe we shouldn't be so shocked. The Browns D has given up 1,002 yards through their first 5 games. That is the fewest yards allowed since 1971, and 3rd fewest all time. So we might be looking at an all-time defense here. And if that's the case, I guess it doesn't matter if your backup quarterback is playing. As for the Niners, they lost 2 huge pieces in that game as well, as Christian McCaffrey left the game with an oblique injury, and we're on standby waiting for an update on one of the game's best weapons still. Deebo Samuel also left the game with a shoulder injury, but x-rays were negative. He will, though, undergo more tests today. And injuries were a massive part of all of yesterday's action, with a lot of quarterbacks going down. Let's start with Josh Allen, who played through a shoulder injury in that controversial win over the Giants. He had x-rays following the win last night, and according to head coach Sean McDermott, the scans were normal. He will, however, get more imaging done today. Now for the big one that will have a major fantasy impact. Justin Fields reportedly has a dislocated thumb, and while x-rays were negative, more tests were done today, with coach Matt Eberflus saying there's no timetable for his return, and that it will come down to grip strength. Ryan Tannehill was carted off the field in the London game with an ankle injury. He will have an MRI today, but no word yet on how severe the injury is. So we wait and see on the status of the Titans QB. And when it comes to Jimmy G, who was sent to the hospital yesterday, Coach Josh McDaniels said they dodged a bullet when it comes to his back injury, and that the prognosis was not as bad as it could have been. But it does sound like he will miss some time. And he finished with this amazing video from Panthers punter Johnny Hecker, who was pushed to the brink and decided to break out the headbutt.
So he had something to say to Hecker, and then there's the shove.
There's the push.
Now wait, hold on,
Yeah.
it gets worse.
Then the headbutt knocked him out. Oh, and the official goes, here comes the flag.
Down goes Frazier.
He looked like he barely butted. Looked like he barely butted and he went down. Or maybe that's just a massive dive from the other guy. Someone's been watching European soccer. Time now for my favorite segment and yours, Why We Love Sports Today.
Why we love sports today.
And this video defies all laws of gravity. Wow, the leg kick up, the grab. Whoa! This is sick! Okay, that's really sick. Have you guys been to a motocross event like this? The vibes are always high, okay? I don't know if it's a Sasky girl in me, but oh my God, do I love it. Well, this next video is not as high stakes as the first one. Let's just give credit for the smoothness of the route run. Can we talk about what kind of gym this is where nobody's actually wearing proper footwear? We got Crocs without sport mode on. We got sandals. We got a bunch of socks and sandals, which I kind of vibe with. But no, the Crocs with no sport mode, that's why you didn't win, my guy. Week 6 of the NFL concludes tonight with Monday Night Football, as the Chargers host the Cowboys. But don't be confused when you turn on TSN later tonight to watch the game and see more Cowboys fans than Chargers fans. That's because that's how most home games are for the Chargers, but especially so when a public team like Dallas that travels well is coming to Los Angeles. There's a pretty fun matchup tonight though, as it's two of the most talented teams in the NFL. For Dallas, they're looking to rebound after being absolutely decimated by the Niners last week, but over the last 3 years, that typically means a win the following week, as Dallas is 9-1 straight up and against the spread, following a loss in the last 3 seasons, including 7 straight covers. They're 1.5 road favorites tonight in LA, with a total set at 50.5. But this thing has been climbing as it opened at 46.5. That's a pretty big swing. Then you can watch the Cowboys and Chargers tonight at TSN at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific. And be sure to tune in at 6 for Monday Night Countdown. That's all for today. We'll see you picking tomorrow at 3 Eastern, no Pacific. Have a good one.